kind of the first time we've done something of this scale in the US. It's making sure you have kind of all your ducks in a row to make sure you are ready for the March deadline.
Okay. I think because it's such a key change in the US especially, kind of changing I know ISO is all about payment data, you're changing from a legacy format to this thing.
In March 2023, SWIFT, the world's largest interbank messaging network connecting over 11,000 institutions, completed its migration to ISO 20022, the most advanced global payments standard ever created. It wasn't just an update. It was the beginning of an entirely new era, one that replaces the outdated financial language of the 1970s with a digital system designed for the world we live in today. Tokenized, instant, and borderless. But here's what most investors missed. ISO 20022 wasn't built for Bitcoin. It wasn't built for Ethereum. It was built for a new generation of digital assets that could integrate directly with banks, governments, and corporations. And out of thousands of cryptocurrencies, only a handful are built for this system. QNT, XRP, XLM, XDC. These are the chosen few, the cryptos positioned to power the next global financial architecture. When SWIFT announced its move to ISO 20022, most people shrugged. But behind the scenes, something massive was taking shape. The World Bank, IMF, and central banks began quietly adjusting their infrastructures. Every payment rail, every settlement layer, every clearinghouse began aligning with the same language, the ISO 20022 messaging format. This is not just a new data standard. It's the foundation of programmable money. It allows banks to send far richer data, automate settlements, and integrate blockchain-based transactions with traditional finance. It's the bridge between the old financial world and the new digital one, and the coins that speak this new language are about to explode in relevance. Let's start with the first signal, interoperability. For decades, global finance has been fragmented. Each nation runs its own systems, its own banks, its own settlement rules. Transferring money internationally is slow, expensive, and opaque. But ISO 20022 changes that. It standardizes communication across every system, every currency, and every institution. And that's exactly where QNT, XRP, XLM, and XDC come in. Each of these assets plays a unique role in this new financial stack. Quant, QNT, the operating system of the digital economy. Its Overledger technology connects multiple blockchains, legacy systems, and even central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. QNT isn't competing with banks. It's empowering them to interoperate. That's why the Bank of England, Norges Bank, and other institutions have tested platforms that rely on interoperability frameworks like Quant's. Ripple's XRP ledger, XRPL, the ultimate bridge for liquidity. Designed from day one for cross-border settlements, XRP can move value across borders in seconds for fractions of a cent. While Bitcoin and Ethereum fight over being digital gold and smart contract layers, XRP is quietly integrating with banks and payment providers under ISO 20022 compatibility. Stellar XLM, the People's Bridge. Built by one of Ripple's co-founders, Stellar focuses on remittances and real-world payments for the unbanked. It's already powering cross-border transfers in Africa, Latin America, and Asia, regions the IMF and World Bank are heavily targeting for financial inclusion projects. XDC Network, the trade finance engine. While others chase speculation, XDC is digitizing real-world assets, invoices, letters of credit, and supply chain documents on blockchain. Its alignment with ISO 20022 makes it ideal for tokenizing and settling trillions in trade transactions globally. Together, these four ISO 20022 compliant networks form the invisible spine of the new financial system. The signs are everywhere, if you know where to look. When SWIFT tested blockchain interoperability in 2023, they didn't use Bitcoin or Ethereum. They used QNT's Overledger. When MoneyGram announced blockchain integration for remittances, they didn't pick Dogecoin or Solana. They partnered with Stellar XLM. When the Hong Kong Monetary Authority explored CBDCs for trade, XDC's model for tokenized finance was referenced as a proof of concept. And while Ripple faced its lawsuit with the SEC, XRP continued to expand globally, from Japan's SBI remit to the UAE's central bank partnerships. Each of these moves tells the same story. The institutions have already chosen their rails. They just haven't told retail yet. Right now, while the market is distracted by hype cycles, meme coins, and ETF speculation, the quiet infrastructure of the next financial era is being laid down. And the tokens sitting at its foundation are still trading at cents to tens of dollars, a fraction of their eventual value once global settlement truly moves digital. Look back at history. Every major financial transformation began quietly, unnoticed by the majority. In the 1990s, few understood what the Internet Protocol would become. Today, we can't live without it. In the 2000s, very few believed cloud computing would dominate global business. Now, every enterprise runs on it. And now, in the 2020s, ISO 20022 is doing for money what TCP/IP did for information. It's the universal language that will connect every bank, blockchain, and CBDC on Earth. And it's already being implemented across 200+ countries. The key difference this time? You can actually own a piece of the infrastructure by holding these ISO 20022 aligned assets before mass adoption hits. For years, skeptics laughed at the idea that crypto would ever merge with traditional banking. But now, it's not a question of if. It's happening. SWIFT is ISO 20022. The Federal Reserve's FedNow is ISO 20022. The European Central Bank's Target 2 system is ISO 20022. Everywhere you look, the transition is underway, and every system needs digital assets capable of speaking this new standard. This is not about hype anymore. It's about readiness. And the only assets that are truly ready are QNT, XRP, XLM, and XDC. So when you see the charts flatlining or the headlines mocking utility coins, remember this: institutions aren't chasing noise. They're building quietly, methodically, under a new rulebook that's already live. The signal has been sent. The rails have been connected. And the next time liquidity floods into this market, it won't be retail speculation leading the charge. It will be the global financial system itself. Let's be honest, these aren't coins you buy for a quick 100x gamble. These are the ones you hold when you understand what's coming. You hold them because you've realized the financial system isn't dying. It's evolving. And evolution always chooses efficiency. That's where these coins come in. QNT, the invisible layer that connects everything. People keep calling it the interoperability token, but that's not what it really is. QNT isn't trying to replace anyone. It's making sure everyone can talk to each other. It's the silent translator between blockchains, banks, and government systems that don't even realize they're speaking different languages. Think about it. The future isn't going to be one blockchain ruling them all. It's going to be thousands of systems, public, private, centralized, decentralized, all needing to exchange value and data seamlessly. That's what QNT does. It's not hype. It's infrastructure. It's the cables beneath the ocean, not the websites on your screen. The power lines, not the light bulbs. The average trader doesn't see it yet because QNT doesn't scream for attention. It's too focused on building bridges while everyone else builds castles. And when the storm comes, castles fall. Bridges stand. Then there's XRP, the old guard, the one that took all the hits so the rest could learn. For years, XRP was treated like an outlaw. A lawsuit, delistings, FUD from every corner of the media. But here's the irony. While the headlines screamed collapse, the partnerships kept growing. Banks, payment providers, remittance networks, they didn't stop testing. They didn't stop integrating. Because when you strip away the noise, XRP is still the fastest, most cost-efficient bridge asset ever designed. It moves value the way the internet moves information, instantly, globally, without permission. And that's what scares the system the most. Because for the first time, value doesn't need to crawl through the old pipes of correspondent banking. It doesn't need to wait 2 to 5 business days. It just moves. What the world is slowly realizing is that XRP isn't trying to destroy the banks. It's teaching them how to evolve. The same institutions that once ignored it are now quietly building on the rails it pioneered. The irony writes itself. And then, there's Stellar XLM, XRP's spiritual twin, but with a heart for the people. If XRP is the highway for institutions, XLM is the bridge for everyone else, the small businesses, the remittance workers, the unbanked. It's the one that actually touches lives directly. Every time someone in Nigeria sends money home from London, every time a family in the Philippines receives support from abroad without losing half of it to fees, that's Stellar's mission in action. While everyone else in crypto is obsessed with speculation, Stellar's been quietly partnering with NGOs, payment companies, and fintechs, building the kind of infrastructure that doesn't just make millionaires, it changes how money moves for billions. That's power. The kind that doesn't scream. The kind that just works. And when the next wave of digital finance fully integrates, when cross-border payments are seamless, instant, and universal, XLM will be the silent engine behind it, moving value for the world's forgotten economies. That's how revolutions really happen, quietly until they're everywhere. Finally, XDC, the most underestimated of them all. XDC isn't flashy. It doesn't have the fanfare or the memes, but it's doing something the world desperately needs. Digitizing trade finance. Every shipment, every invoice, every letter of credit, all those paper-based systems that still dominate global trade, XDC is turning them into digital tokens that can move through the new system instantly. That's trillions, not billions, of dollars in value waiting to be unlocked. And here's what makes XDC special. It's not competing with the traditional trade system. It's upgrading it. It's compatible with the standards banks already use, including ISO 20022. So when the next wave of digital settlements hits, and banks need a blockchain that's built to speak their language, XDC will already be fluent. It's like the quiet kid in class who never talks, then one day solves the problem no one else could. You see, all four of these coins, QNT, XRP, XLM, XDC, are pieces of the same puzzle. They're not rivals. They're not fighting for dominance. They're coexisting in a system that's far bigger than crypto, a system that's rebuilding global finance from the ground up. That's why when you see people argue over which one will win, you know they don't get it yet. This isn't about one project taking the crown. It's about alignment. Each one plays a role. QNT connects. XRP settles. XLM includes. XDC digitizes. Together, they form the backbone of the new monetary language, ISO 20022. And while most of the world is still distracted by Bitcoin ETFs and AI coins, the real story, the quiet, transformative one, is happening here. Because here's the thing no one wants to admit. The reset is already in motion. Central banks aren't testing digital currencies anymore, they're deploying them. The institutions that once dismissed blockchain are now building their foundations on it. And guess which technologies they're integrating? The ones that already speak their language. You can't fake compliance. You can't retrofit readiness. QNT, XRP, XLM, and XDC were built for this, for the world that's now unfolding in front of us. The noise will fade. The hype will fade. But these will be the constants when the dust settles. Because when history looks back at this moment, this quiet transition in 2025, it won't remember the memes or the headlines. It'll remember the infrastructure. It'll remember who was ready. And those who held their conviction, who saw what was being built while everyone else was distracted, they won't just be investors. They'll be the early builders of the next financial era. Something changed after 2024. The confidence people used to have in the dollar, in the euro, in the old institutions, it's fading. You can feel it when you talk to bankers, investors, everyday people. There's this quiet, uneasy realization that the old tools don't work anymore. Printing money used to fix everything. Now it breaks everything faster. Interest rates used to guide the markets. Now they just delay the inevitable. The system isn't just inefficient. It's incompatible with the speed of the world we live in now. And that's where these ISO coins start to make sense. This isn't about hype anymore. It's about survival. The financial world is moving too fast for the old models, and the only rails that can handle the velocity are the ones already built for it, QNT, XRP, XLM, XDC. They're not waiting for permission. They're not asking for approval. They're already functioning in the cracks between the old world and the new one, transferring value in real time, connecting systems that were never meant to talk to each other, and doing it all without noise or recognition. It's not a revolution you'll see on TV. It's the kind that happens in the background, in the data streams, in the code. Sometimes I think about how history will remember this time. Maybe one day, students will look back and wonder how nobody saw it coming. How an entire financial structure was replaced without a single headline screaming it. They'll study charts showing how capital quietly migrated from outdated systems to digital ledgers. They'll talk about the moment when settlement became instant, global, and final. And they'll point to these coins, these misunderstood, underpriced tokens, as the early foundations of the new era. But right now, everyone's too distracted to notice. That's what makes it poetic, the disbelief, the ignorance, the arrogance. It's always the same before something massive happens. In 1995, people said the internet was a fad. In 2008, they said the banks were too big to fail. And in 2025, they'll say, crypto was just speculation. Until suddenly, it isn't. And when that realization hits, when the world sees that the new system isn't some futuristic concept but the backbone already holding everything together, it's going to feel instant, like a switch flipped overnight. But those who've been watching, those who've been holding, will know it wasn't overnight at all. It was years of preparation, testing, and building under the radar. QNT quietly weaving the network of networks. XRP, bridging value between worlds that once spoke different financial dialects. XLM, moving money for those the system forgot. XDC, digitizing trade, turning paper into programmable assets. It's not just technology, it's architecture, and every piece is falling exactly where it needs to. The scariest part for most people won't be the technology itself. It'll be how fast everything shifts once it's in place. When global settlements no longer take days but seconds, when cross-border fees disappear, when the middlemen vanish, the world's going to realize how much value was trapped in inefficiency all along. And when that value gets released, it'll have to go somewhere. It'll flow into the rails ready to handle it. The ISO rails. The ones built for this exact moment. That's when the charts stop looking like speculation and start looking like recognition. That's when the price movement isn't hype. It's alignment. You can call it destiny, timing, or just the natural evolution of technology. But it's coming either way. Money is going digital, not in theory, not in hype, but in infrastructure. And when digital money becomes the standard, the networks that move it, QNT, XRP, XLM, XDC, become the core of everything. This is what people don't understand when they talk about crypto adoption. It's not about people buying lattes with Bitcoin. It's about entire nations running on new rails. That's why this moment feels different. Because for the first time, we're not waiting for a bull run. We're watching a global reset unfold. Slow, deliberate, inevitable. And it's the quiet ones, the coins with utility, not noise, that will carry the weight of what comes next. The world isn't ready for that realization. But it's coming. And when it does, the people who've been paying attention, the ones who saw the signals early, won't be surprised. They'll be prepared. Because this isn't just another market cycle. This is the end of one system and the silent birth of another. And when that curtain finally falls, the stage lights will hit the same four names, QNT, XRP, XLM, and XDC, standing exactly where they've been all along. Ready, waiting, built for what's next. Let's be honest. The market has been brutal. Scams, rug pulls, and hype coins have drowned out real innovation. Yet in the background, these four tokens have been steadily forming the foundation of the next era of global finance. XRP is no longer just a remittance token. It's the settlement layer that central banks are actively experimenting with. XLM has evolved into a bridge for inclusion, connecting global payment corridors from Africa to Latin America. XDC is rewriting how trade finance works, tokenizing letters of credit and making multi-trillion-dollar systems accessible to digital ledgers. And QNT Quant is the key that links it all, building interoperability across blockchains, banks, and even CBDC systems. The world has been waiting for regulation, and that's the moment we're stepping into right now. ISO 20022 is live. Global banks, SWIFT, and even government payment systems are transitioning to this new data-rich standard. For years, people said, it's just a messaging upgrade. But anyone who's done the research knows this is the foundation for real-time digital value transfer. And every single one of these coins, QNT, XRP, XLM, XDC, fits directly into that framework. Look around, BRICS nations are accelerating their digital currency networks. The IMF and World Bank are talking about cross-border digital settlement layers. Even MasterCard and Visa have started testing blockchain integrations with Stellar and Ripple. This isn't conspiracy. It's confirmation. The future monetary system isn't coming someday. It's unfolding right now. And when utility meets clarity, that's when real price movement begins. QNT's token scarcity. XRP's global liquidity corridors. XLM's partnerships in Africa and the UN's humanitarian systems. XDC's tokenized trade documents. All roads are leading toward adoption, and adoption brings demand. For early holders, this is where conviction turns into reward. The noise will fade. The hype coins will disappear. And what will remain are the networks actually powering the financial reset. So when people ask, is it too late? The answer is simple. Not yet. But it will be soon. If you're holding QNT, XRP, XLM, or XDC, hold them tight. Watch the charts, yes, but also watch the headlines. The connections forming now will change everything we know about money. Comment below. Which of these ISO coins are you holding? And what's your price prediction for the next bull run? Let's see who's ready for the biggest wealth transfer in modern history.